Hi, my name is Vin, and in this video we're going to be learning about complex trinomial factoring. Before we try to attempt to solve this problem, we'll first revisit the difference between complex and simple trinomial factoring, which we explored briefly in the previous video in simple trinomial factoring. So in simple trinomial factoring, the coefficient in front of x squared is always 1 and it's never greater than that. However, in complex trinomial factoring, the coefficient in front of x has to be greater than 1, and in this case it's 4. Therefore, this is complex trinomial factoring. So now the problem I'll put up on the board, 4x squared plus 25x minus 21, we'll try to attempt to solve this problem using complex trinomial factoring. In the previous video, we learned to make a table, so let us make a table. In it, we put 4x squared. We put the last term in the middle, which is negative 21, and we put the middle term at the end, which is 25x. Then we ask ourselves, what two numbers when multiplied give 4x squared? The first two set of numbers that came to mind were 4x and x. And they do give 4x squared when multiplied. So therefore the first portion is correct. Then we move on to the next one. We have to think what two numbers when multiplied give negative 21. So we'll list out the possibilities. There's negative 7, 3, 3, and negative 7. And negative 3 and 7. The first two are the same. So these two are the only possibilities that give negative 21. So let's just try the second one. Negative 3, 7. Now we use the cross multiplication method. We multiply 4x by 7, giving you 28x, which you write here, the product in this area. And then you multiply x by negative 3, giving you negative 3x, in which you write the product in the bottom corner. Now we have 28x and negative 3x. We have to add them together to see if we get our last term, 25x, which is our middle term in the equation. And when you add them together, you indeed get 25x. Now, from this table, we have to come up with a factor. And it's really simple to do it because this is our first factor, and this is our second factor. So therefore, the factored form of 4x squared plus 25x minus 21 is bracket 4x minus 3 and x plus 7. Hi, my name is Mit, and today we're going to be learning about common factoring. We're going to be solving the problem 2x cubed plus 8x squared through the common factoring technique. So the way we can approach this problem is first look at the problem itself and identify the two terms within the problem, which are 2x cubed and 8x squared. Then we ask ourselves, what's common between these two terms? Well, to start off, the number 2 is the most evident thing that's common between these two terms. So we common factor it out. 2, open bracket, what's remaining is the x cubed part, plus 8 divided by 2, giving us 4, and the remaining x squared portion, close bracket. So this is the first step we took to common factor. Now, if we look at this problem, 2x cubed plus 4x squared, we can see that we can further common factor it. We can take this x squared portion out, because it's common between these two terms inside the bracket. So instead of 2 being outside the bracket, it would now be 2x squared, with the inside term being x, because x cubed minus x squared gives you x to the power of 1, which is just x, plus 4 when you take out the x squared. So now the common factor term for 2x cubed plus 8x squared would be 2x squared, open bracket, x plus 4, close bracket. And if we were to check this, we would use the distributive property. We would first multiply 2x squared by x, giving us 2x cubed, and then we would multiply 2x squared by 4, giving us 8x squared. Hence, 2x squared, open bracket, x plus 4, close bracket, would be the common factored version of this problem. Hi, my name is Amit, and today we're going to be learning about simple trinomial factoring. I've put up a problem on the board, x squared plus 7x plus 10, and together we'll be trying to solve this problem with using the method of simple trinomial factoring. Before we begin, I would just like to outline the difference between simple trinomial factoring and something you will learn later on, soon enough, which is complex trinomial factoring. The difference between simple trinomial factoring and complex trinomial factoring is that in simple trinomial factoring, you can see that there is no coefficient or a number in front of x. So there is no 3, for example, in front of x. So basically what I'm trying to say is that in simple trinomial factoring, the coefficient in front of x is not greater than 1. However, in complex trinomial factoring, the coefficient in front of the x is greater than 1, and there has to be a coefficient in front of the x in complex trinomial factoring, which is greater than 1, as I said before. So let us start trying to factor this equation x squared plus 7x plus 10 using simple trinomial factoring. Something you'll be seeing a lot in simple trinomial factoring and complex trinomial factoring would be this following chart, which I'll draw. In these open spaces, you would put the respective terms in. For example, x squared. Instead of putting 7x in the middle, you would put 7x at the end, which you'll find out later why. And you would put the n term, 10, in the middle, and divide them like that. So now, first we have to ignore 10 and 7x. We have to first concentrate on x squared. We have to think what two variables will multiply to give you x squared. And the only possible answer would be x times x, which would give you x squared. So we're done the first portion. Then we have to think what two numbers when multiplied give you 10, but at the same time when they're added give you 7x. So the only two possibilities that give you 10 when multiplied is 10 and 1 and 5 and 2. So first let's go with 10 and 1. When multiplied they give you, or when multiplied they give you 10. But when you add them, they give you 11x, which is not what we're looking for. Our next set is 5 and 2. When you multiply them, they give you 10. And when you add them, they give you 7x. So 5 and 2 would be correct. So we would place 5 in this and 2 in this. And it wouldn't really matter where we would put the 5 and 2 because these two terms are the same, x and x. Hence it would not matter. Then from here, we cross multiply. We do x times 2, giving you 2x. And you write the product up in this corner. Then you do x times 5, which is 5x. And you write the product in this bottom half. And then just to check, when you multiply 2x and 5x together, when you add them together, you get 7x. So now, the question is, where are our factors? Well, our factors are here. This is the first factor, and this is the second factor. Our first factor is x plus 5, right here, and our second factor is this, x plus 2. So the simple trinomial factoring, when we do it on x squared plus 7x plus 10, it would give us open bracket x plus 5, close bracket, open bracket x plus 2, close bracket.